Hey Nocturnal, how are you? Yeah, I can't complain. And RJ, how are you? Hopefully you're going well. I am just finishing up doing the socials. We can jump into it now. Alright, welcome everyone. So, yeah, we have Socks also here. She's like, just sitting in her bed for once. You know? She doesn't cause it trouble. Not yet. She will. She will. Alright, let's jump into this. I'm just going to close this. You're good. Just back from a few days in the Netherlands with your wife, which is oh, nice, nice. That would have been a lot of fun. I've never been that far. Because I live in Melbourne. So I've been to New Zealand, I've been to Fiji, I've been to Indonesia, I've been to Thailand, South Korea, Japan. So I've only had this sort of sphere of influence. And I know coming back from Japan was 20 hours. That was pushing it for me. That was hard. So yeah, I don't know how I'll get to Europe. Let's just say if I ever get to Europe, it's going to be a couple of months stay. It's an hour from the UK, fair enough. An hour? Alright, let's bring back up the maps. Oops, wrong shortcuts. Alright, an hour from where I live is getting to Sydney by plane. $45 Alright, yeah, rub it again in. That's not so bad. Yeah, we've got a lot of land and a lot of nothing in a lot of places. So, yeah, an hour. So, Tullamarine Airport is around. Oh, I keep forgetting. Oh, there it is. Around here, and then the Sydney airport itself is in the city. So if you scroll in, it's actually just down here. Yeah, there it is. So it's an hour from there. Yeah, maps don't do it justice. And then it's about the same to Adelaide. I think it's actually shorter to Adelaide. I do believe it is 40. I think it's 55 minutes to Adelaide. It's a couple of hours to Brisbane. Because I've been there a couple of times. I have not explored Northern Territory or Western Australia yet, so yeah. Did a church mission trip there and was talking about driving for hours and hours, fueling up and driving. Oh god, no. No. I would not like that. Let me take the plane. Alright. I'm going to continue with the API. Just like projections do strange things. Yes, yeah. Nocturnal, I did read your message. I was going to try and finish up the API tonight. So yeah. But I've got a way to test it. I don't know if you can see the whiteboard behind me. Probably not. It's out of focus. I've got some notes on there to be like, alright, I've got to document the Docker tests and stuff like that. Because there's things that I've done. I've forgotten libraries. And stuff like that, and yeah, I need to test a little bit more. So yeah, I pushed my Swagger stuff, and I left the Swagger libraries out of the Docker stuff. And of course, did I break Docker? Yes, I did. All right, let's do the cube. Okay. Oh, Nightbot's falling. He's going to land on that. Whoa, Nightbot. Well, he's landing on the 97.25 at the start. All right, how are we doing with... Oh, that's frozen. That. Hang on. Yeah, separating out the base is great, but does make stuff like that a little bit more. Yeah, we just got to test it. All right, cool. Sorry, my little warning about the ads just disappeared. It froze up and disappeared. Anyway, everyone should be back now. Welcome back, everyone. So, yes, we are continuing on with the phase 1 of the API. So, yeah, phase 0 was released. We're all happy. We've done all that. We are now deploying the API to other objects within NearBeach. Just nothing with that is a child object at the moment, because we'll come back and figure that one out a little later. So, we're currently up to sprints. So we've just got to do a sprint, and then we'll do the organizations and customers, which should also be very, very easy to do. That's just a basic sort of crud. Yeah, let's get straight into it. So, opening up NearBeach. We're going to open up the serializers. We are going to right-hand click. We're going to create a serializer, and it's going to be called Sprint Serializer, which I've got to spell correctly. Alright, cool. We're going to add that into the code. We're all happy with that. We also want to open up the views and the API. And we want to create a... Actually, it's just going to be easy if we just copy the project one. And we're just going to call it the Sprint API. We'll fix this up very, very quickly. Very much like we were doing last stream. Ooh, we've got date time at the top. All right. Socks, your tail keeps going under the mouse. So, I'm going to deal with the Sprint serializer first. So from REST framework, import serializers, easy done. I think from NearBeach.mod, do we need... I'm just going to have a look at the project serializer very, very quickly. We'll probably have statuses and stuff like that. So we'll have a quick look at the models. Okay. So here we've got the sprint, ID, sprint name, we've got requirement project. That's how we're connecting it. Though we'll do that a little differently. So I'm just having a quick think of how we're going to solve certain things. I'm just going to delete this. We are going to boot up this. We're going to go into localhost. I'm going to do dark admin. So, sorry. Little objects. Let's go into project. Actually, let's do sprints. We can't create a new sprint from here, no. Because the idea is the sprint's connected to a project or a So go into sprint, we're going to create a new sprint. I'm just just opening up this. We're moving this off to the left. We are going to hit network. We're going to see where this actually goes. No throttling. We're going to untick persistent logs because we don't need it. Actually, I think I'll just keep it on just in case. Good thing I did keep it on. So it goes to new sprint, project, and save. All right, cool. So we are going to follow a similar sort of thing where we've got a destination and an object. All right, not a problem. So I'm just thinking this out aloud. So instead of having I now say that in here we've got requirement and projects. What we could do is when we create it, we can link to these particular things, but then we need that sort of data coming out. But I can have separate fields for that. By the way, what did you think about the tasks at a given time of day? I could use the API for it if you don't want it. Mainline NearBeach. Like getting them to do the tasks at any time of the day. Yeah, that should be perfectly fine. That's part of the cron stuff you wanted to set up. I just set up the scheduler to do once a day, but I think it should be fine if we want to do other sort of tasks at any point of the day. So for example, you might have an hourly task, or you might have a task that runs at a specific time and stuff like that. I think, yeah, we can expand it. The issue of you run it multiple times, it will remake that. Yeah, well, that's, yeah. At the moment, at least, yeah. Something we could think about expanding and stuff like that. Alright, sorry, get back into this. I could create two different fields for it, but what we could do is we'll have a destination, we'll have a location ID for the sprint. That should be fine. We will copy what we've done with the actually no, when we're creating it so I'm just giving a quick sort of trying to think this out. When we're actually creating a sprint, we'll hit the API. The URL won't actually have the destination location ID in it. We could potentially just have requirement and project in it. That could work perfectly fine. Might be a bit more complicated for use cases, which is why perhaps doing it with the API and a dedicated bit of code isn't a bad thing. Okay, fair enough. Yep. Yeah. Okay. We don't have the story points in there yet, but there's some old database design in there. Oh, we put them in. Knowing that we're going to implement. All right. Yep. All right. Change user is deleted is the only field excluded. All right. Now this will be a class. This will be a sprint serializer. And then we go serializers.model serializer. Easy, done. Then we do class meta. Then we do model equals. And this is, yeah, where we need the sprint stuff. So from NearBeach dot models import, and this will be the sprint. We just do sprint, and then we do exclude equals, and then we've got two fields that we're excluding. I'm just putting this on the right so I can see it. Change user, and is deleted. Easy, done. Now I know this is going to change, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like this, because we'll also need project. And requirement. Going down with this, we'll have the I'm just gonna have a look at what we did with the project. Now we just had plain one in this. Are we connecting also? No, because this is actually a child element, so I don't know why I'm doing this in this case. I think I've yeah. So sprints are actually a child element. They're a weird sort of element, in the sense that yes, they do belong to either a project or a requirement. However, they do themselves stand alone. And I think it is, I'm going to continue to deploy the sprint in this particular phase, because I think it'll be a good sort of learning curve to be like, all right, cool. What do I need to do for the other child elements like the Kanban cards and so forth like that? So, yeah. We also need to open up as a reference the new sprint stuff. So I'm opening up the sprint view. I'm just going to do this. We're just going to scroll down to where we need. So we've got new sprint. We've got a form. So the new sprint form, we can check out that data. So let's get the sprint name, start date, and end date. Easy, done. It actually grabs the destination and location ID from the URL. We are... I don't know where I'm going to grab it from. In one case, we could... Yeah. I'm just opening up the URLs for the API also. I just want to see what I've done elsewhere. So I've done the destination location for all of that. I don't want to do that for the sprints though. I feel like I'm going to send this data through the API. Okay, let's do that. So, what we need is destination equals serializers dot choice field, where the choices are, and I know I've done choices before. serializers. I think it's just that, really. I think it's just the same. Yeah, I honestly think it's the same. Yeah, it's honestly the same. So the choices will be either project or requirement. Hang on, I think I can get away with something like that. We'll find out. All right, so we've got the destination, and then the location ID will equal serializers, integer field, required equals true. We're gonna go required equals true. I could send this data back, which will be useful for the front end. So I'm gonna definitely keep that as required true, because I can see this being a lot easier in JavaScript for me to be like, oh, by the way, this is the destination, this is location ID, and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah. All right. So we've got that. If I go back to the sprint, I will go back to the form. So we got the sprint name, start date, and end date. This is the character field. This is required true. Sprint start date equals serializers. Dot date time field required equals true. Sprint end date. All right, easy. So, where's the forms again? We're covering those 3 fields. If we go and create a new sprint, so if I go to parent object, I scroll down, I go sprints, I go create new sprint. Yeah, it's just those 3 fields. If we go cancel, oh yeah, that's broken. If we go into here, there's a lot of data we also get within it. So what I mean is, if I open up this, let's go to the network tab. Let's make sure we're not persistent logging it. We actually get the get data after the fact. And if I do something like that, yeah. So, sprint loads in, it gets the data, it then sends this to the user. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm just wondering if I actually include this within our API request. Once again, we'll only include it when you're actually getting a single list item. That could be something rather useful for the user to actually have, or if we exclude it. Now, worst case scenario, if we do exclude it and then want it in later on, we can easily do that. This is version 0, it's unstable, we're constantly changing things. We'll have everything sort of mapped out and made perfect by the time we move to version 1. And then when we move to version 1, a lot of the calls won't hit our old API system, it'll hit the new version 1 API. So it might be one of those things that we sort of implement in here, but we've still got, thing is, I've still got to hit this endpoint. Yeah, I've got a bunch of things to think about. So, going with this, I am sorry, I was going to go on this. And then when we get the data, we get this start date and end date. Let's have a look at the table. Sorry, I'm a little all over the spot at the moment, just because I'm still figuring out how I want to do this full sprint, because it isn't a full object. It isn't as easy as project. It isn't as easy as Kanban board and stuff like that. It's in a weird spot. Sprints are a really weird object. So we've got sprint ID, sprint name. We'll definitely need to pass the ID through. So if we go into here, I'm just going to go sprint ID equals serializers dot read only field, and that's all we need. Because we do want that data to come through. The requirement and project will only ever need to fill that out in an appropriate moment. So if I type in requirement equals serializers dot, and this is also one of those sort of cases where we actually don't want it as a serializer. We actually want the requirement. We actually want the data from the requirement, potentially. I'm just thinking what data we have on this particular page. Yeah, this is a sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. This is a bit of a confusing one. We do want to either have the project ID that it's connected to or the project information. I'm going to say project information coming through. Yeah. So very similar to what we do with the Kanban cards and all that kind of stuff. If I move this back over there and I bump this open and I go to the Kanban board serializer, you'll notice with the Kanban card, we've got the Kanban card serializer and we've got many coming through, allow null and read only. So we'll do something similar. I'll put that over there just for reference. So sprint serializer, let's go up here. We're gonna go from NearBeach dot serializers import, sorry, dot, and then we'll need the project serializer, import the project serializer from NearBeach dot serializers dot requirement serializer, import requirement serializer. We're going to go down here, we're going to type in requirement serializer. I'm just going to open that. Many equals false. We're only going to do one. Allow null. That's going to be true. Read only is also going to be true. And then we're going to do project equals project serializer. Many equals false. Allow null equals true. Read only equals true. Easy done. So We've got all of that in there. I'm just having a look at the model. We're not going to worry about total story points yet. We're not going to worry about complete story points. Once again, we've put those in there because we do want to implement story points. We're also look at the sprint status. That is data we definitely need, and that's only read-only data. So, sprint status equals serializer.read-only field. All we need. I'm going to stand up. Sorry, I've just got an uncomfortable shoulder today. The rising of the desk. So, yep. All right. So the sprint status will pass through. The sprint start date and sprint end date, we've already got that data, and we're collecting that data. Date created, date modified. That's... They'll only be read-only. We won't need that at all. So, now that we've done this, I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to minimize this so we can see more code. So we've got the serializer up and running. Now let's go through. I'm going to keep the sprint view open. URLs we're going to close for the moment. I'm going to put the sprint view over there. We're going to go through this and make some changes. So straight off the bat, we won't need the project status. With the sprint status, I have forgotten. Sprint status, that's part of that. All right, cool. We'll see how that turns out. Because we might need a sprint status name. Actually, just wait. Let me see how I did this. We won't. Default will be fine. The user won't be editing it anyway, so that's perfectly fine. So, going with this, object assignment, group and object assignments. Now, memory serves me correctly, we probably don't need those. I'm just going to comment them out. Organization is not needed. Project might be needed. Requirement might be needed. And probably user group. And we'll have a look at our sprint view to see how we're actually setting everything up and, you know, make sure we're doing this all correctly. So, going with this. From NearBeach serializer, we'll need the project serializer. Yes, from NearBeach.serializers.requirement serializer import requirement serializer. All right, cool. We need that. We'll need that. Transfer new object uploads. We won't need that. Date time. We'll need that. So this will become sprint view set. And this will be, query set. That will then become sprint dot objects. That's where I need to PQRS. I need to put that in there. Serializer class will be the sprint serializer. And we'll put that in. And we have ads. Okay. Hopefully everyone's going well tonight. Sorry, I'm just moving my shoulders at the moment. We're going to solve some Rubik's cubes. All right. There you go. Yay! Hopefully everyone's going well. For those on YouTube wondering what's happening right now, Twitch has ads. You don't get ads. Don't worry about it. We run ads so people don't get pre-rolled ads. That's it. Yeah. I just tend to do this. I do this purposely so no one misses out on any content. Especially, they will miss out on little socks glares and stuff like that though. Look at her. She loves the glare. So, yeah. Anyway, welcome back everyone. So we've got the sprint serializer coming through perfectly fine. We've specialized that, yep, that's going to be the sprint serializer. Socks is why we come, yep, I knew it. I knew it. I need to buy her more treats. Oh, I forgot to go, I couldn't go down today because I had to pick up my car at lunch. Yes, I'll go. I'm not around tomorrow. Shoot. Might be one of those things that I just order in. Alright, I'm going to put those there. So, what we've got is we're doing the create now. So that's where I've got the. Oops, I was meant to do that. So, you guys might not see most of this code over here. This is just the new sprint sort of stuff. We're going to replicate that code off onto the left hand side as Socks decides that no, she doesn't want the microphone here. She's just going to knock it further and further away. So we're happy with that. We're just changing that to the sprint serializer because we're expecting the thing to be in the shape of a form. Now, if we have a look on the right, we've just got, I know it's behind chat. We've got the form. We've got making sure it's valid, and then we submit the sprint. So we don't need any of this group list stuff. We don't need the organization instance. Now, we do need this destination location stuff, which is easy. We've got that in the data. That won't be a problem. So, I can get rid of quite a lot of this stuff now. So let's just write it out and then start deleting stuff. So what we want to do is save the data. So sprint submit will equal sprint, and then we've got the sprint name, which will equal the serializer.data.get, and then we've got the sprint name. It's done. Sprint start date, serializer data get sprint start date. This is all sprint end date. Change user will equal the request.user. Easy done. Now the destination. This is where we can still use this little trick. So we've got destination. However, serializer data get destination. Sorry, I had a brain fart then. Essentially, I forgot how to spell destination. Just after I spelled destination. Alright, cool. So, down here, what we can do is we're like, alright, we want the field destination, which could be either project or requirement, underscore ID, and that's just going to equal location ID. And that's all we need. Yeah, that's a little nifty trick that we can do. And then, yeah, this is just sprint submit.save. And then we just send back the ID for it. Easy done. So there's less to do with creating a sprint, just because we just create it and we actually assign it on the table itself. Easy done. There's no secondary tables, object assignments, or anything like that we need to do. So once again, this is slightly different. This object acts completely and utterly different compared to every other object. So we've just done that. I'm happy with that. We're going to go down here and we're going to go sprint, change user at save, and then we just want to go sprint deleted. Now, remove sprint is going to be the same sort of thing. We've got some extra protection. Now, that being said, with the delete. And hello, Ducties. How are you going? Yes, she's cool. She's not causing too much trouble today. So, yes. How are you going, Ducties? Alright, so in this sort of case, what we've got is we've got extra sort of protection being like, yeah, we need the destination location ID. We're going to do that in this specific case. We are I just realized I've made a mistake, but we'll get to that mistake and I'm going to correct it. It's further on, the mistake. In fact, the mistake is here too. Oh no, the mistake isn't here, is it? No. You're well, what about yourself? Oh yeah, I can't complain. Thank you very much for asking. We are implementing an API for NearBeach. So, yeah. And I'm getting distracted with solving the cube. Alright, so in this sort of case, we want to actually make sure that this all matches correctly. Yeah, I know I've done something similar where we've done it in a specific way. I'm just having a quick look. Oh, that's the serializers. I know I did it. No, that's still getting object. No, that will be fine. What was it? What was it for? It's part of the object data. So, if I move, let's say, the notes object data over here, so you guys can actually see it, we're going to go down to the destroy. We actually serialize the data first because we want the data out there. We want to make sure the serializer is perfectly fine. We want to grab the destination location out. And then we want to make sure that all works. Now, careful socks, your paw's really close to the keyboard. The reason why we do all of this is we don't want people accidentally deleting stuff with the wrong number and it's actually affecting something else and they don't know what object they are affecting. So, we add on an extra layer of security, being like, all right, cool, add in that object. So we've got the destination location ID. And if they get that correct, and then the correct ID, then we delete it. It's a soft delete, so yeah. Yep, and she did it. She belly flopped on to the keyboard. Everyone saw that. So, I'm going to put this over here just for reference. We're going to go into here. We're going to be like, all right, let's actually do this from the top. Let's go serializer equals the sprint serializer. We're going to have data equals request.data. We're definitely going to have the context equals the request. And yeah, we'll pass that through. If not serializer.isValid, what we do is we return response. Data equals serializer.errors. Easy done. The status will equal the status dot 400 bad request. All right, cool. So we know what the destination location are. We can flat pack that in here. So we can go get variables. Easy done. And then we'll just go destination equals serializer.data.get destination. Then we've got location ID. Serializer.data.get and then location ID. From there, we don't need to get the self object. It's not needed. We will have a PK up in here, like so. That we will be using. So we'll go delete sprint equals sprint.objects.filter. Sprint ID equals PK, which is just the primary key, is deleted equals false. And then what we want to do is we want to do this where the destination ID equals the location ID. Easy. Now, we're going to check to make sure the length is okay. So if the length of delete sprint equals 0, we're going to actually send back a response being a return response. Data equals no sprints to delete. And then we're sending back the status equals status.http 400 bad request. Easy done. And then what we want to do is delete sprint.update is deleted equals true. And the change user will equal request.user. So yeah, easy done. So I just got Socks is just blocking the chat on YouTube, just making sure no one's chatting. Now we don't need to send back any data or anything like that, so that's it. That's all we need to do. A couple of steps, but that's perfectly fine. But we do these couple of steps just in case, because you don't want someone coming in and accidentally fat fingering in the wrong number and deleting something that, yeah, they do have access to, but it was not part of this particular project or part of this particular sprint or anything like that. So we add in the destination and location ID. So going with this, I'm happy with that. I've also got to double check the object data permission, user API permission. All right, so it is going to work. All right, cool. We should now go to list. So with the list, what we're actually going to do, we've got all the page sizes and all that kind of stuff. We actually do need object assignment in this particular one, because we don't want to show sprints that the user does not actually have access to. So yeah, we've got object assignment, people. So going back down to the list, we've got the object assignment. We're happy with it. If I go to... Now this is all going to change. So what we want to do is we want that to be sprint.objects.filter. We definitely want that to be sprint results. Is deleted. We don't want that project ID in. We actually want a couple of or statements in here. So this is 104. So going up here, we want to, alright, know those. We want to go from Django, lowercase, dot db dot models import, and I think it's Q. Yeah, we want Q. So 105 now. We want to have a Q in here. Sorry, I'm trying to think of this in the best way possible. Alright, I'm going to try something different. Is deleted equals false, and then what we're going to do is we actually need project ID, surprisingly. So it's going to be an or statement between the two. Now, this one will be project ID, the other one will be requirement ID. And then that will be fine. Yes, Socks is the cat. She's with me right now, causing not that much trouble tonight, really. So, all things considered, she's right here. There she is. Aww. She blends in with the desk, I know. Her tail does like to sweep underneath my mouse and cause the mouse to go haywire. So, yeah. And welcome, welcome. Hopefully you're going well. I will not be able to pronounce your name. So, Masala. Welcome, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. So, I'm going to cheat, have the is delete in both, because these will be and. I mean, in reality, usually I have a couple of I think this is simpler. I think this is simpler to do. And then what we need to do is we need to serialize it. So we need to go sprint serializer, and that will be the sprint results and many equals true. And then we set the data back, and now she's moved over there. So that should be it. Shouldn't be too hard to implement. Oh, sorry. Now with the retrieve, we're going to do something a little bit different. Yeah. All right. So we've got the sprint objects.all. I want to see you, Socks. Stay in camera. So we're getting all. So get 404, query set, parameter key is that. All right, so we're happy with that. That one works perfectly fine. Once this should actually be sprint results. So if not if sprint results dot project not null, I've got how to do this. So we're just going to go over here. We're just going to go cd sites NearBeach. We're going to open up our virtual environment. We're going to go Python 3 manage shell. We're going to go from NearBeach .models import everything. We're then going to go a equals. I'm going to get a specific object. So we're going to go sprint.objects.get pk equals 1. That's all we need. So there it is. And then if we go a.project, it's going to do that. A.requirement, it's going to do that. So a.requirement a.project a.project not none is not none. All right. So that's what we needed. I'm gonna get rid of this extra thing there. So if we've got data, what we want to do is we want to get that in there. And I'm pretty sure we only have the ID, but what we could potentially do, print results dot project. Oh, hold on a moment. We've got destination location. Oh, I don't think that will work. But at the same time, it might just work automatically, which... All right, so something may or may not work. We are gonna have to test it. So that will then become sprint serializer, then sprint serializer, then we send the data, and we're all happy with this, with the retrieve. It might not work. I think there's a bug in there, but we'll only find out when I test it. Hi, Patel. Sorry, I'm really bad with new names and stuff like that. I'm working, let me refresh. Hi, welcome. I fall downstairs all the time. I'm working on a open source project management system called NearBeach. We are currently implementing an API into NearBeach. So yeah, we did a vertical slice, got some feedback on that vertical slice, applied that feedback, and now we're expanding that vertical slice across most objects in this particular phase. Once we've done this particular phase, there will be another phase which does all the child elements, and then there will be a third phase where we hook the front end up to it properly. So we're kind of deprecating what we've already got in NearBeach, in the sense because someone was like, oh, I want a proper REST API and stuff like that. So yeah. How are you going, Patel? Hopefully you're going well. So we've got the update. And if we have a look at the sprint view itself, we've got the sprint information, start sprint, update sprint. It's pretty simple. We get the form. We get the sprint, so we've got the serializer. Then we get the yeah. This is gonna be really easy to do. In fact, so we'll have update. is sprint.object.get where the sprint ID equals pk, or we just do pk equals pk. That's just a Django sort of shortcut. And then we go update sprint.sprint name equals serializer.data.get sprint name, easy, update sprint sprint status equals serializers.data.get sprint status, update sprint start date equals serializer.data.get sprint start date, update sprint end date serializer.data.get, and then sprint end date. Oops. And then update sprint.save. Easy. And then we send back the data. Yeah, in the past we just sent back at 200 and everyone was happy. I think in this sort of case, moving forward, we're going to send back data and be like, all right, cool, here's the data. So, yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to get rid of these because we don't need them. Group is not needed. What we're going to do is we're going to search for project. Project serializer, that we're getting rid of. We need that in there. That one's perfectly fine. Oh, we also need... We need a dot filter here. And we need a project ID is null equals false in there. So I've just spotted that bug. Requirement ID is null equals false. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay, so, sorry. Going back to the start, we're just going to search for projects. So that one's perfectly fine, that one's perfectly fine, and that one's perfectly fine. We've only got references for those. I'm going to search for project with a capital. No, nothing. And then requirement. We've only got those three. All right, cool. And only that one. I think yeah, you guys are ready for testing. So, one thing I didn't do is I didn't open up Postman. So we're just quickly opening it up right now. Boom, boom. You guys get to see slightly behind the circuit, the curtain and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got an ultra wide, so I keep the chat for Twitch on the right. Oh, and we're talking about Twitch. We've just reached an ad on Twitch. For those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch, so people don't get pre-rolled ads. You guys don't get ads whatsoever, and I tend to pause the stream so no one misses out on any content. Yeah, you get to see Socks a little more. She's like, oh god, I heard my name. No. And you also get to see me solve a Rubik's Cube, so yeah. Hopefully everyone's going well tonight. Yeah. Hopefully I get to bed early. So I've got to wake up at 6, get to work, got to cycle in. So, you know. Alright, and there's the Rubik's Cube solved. We're about 35 seconds until the ads are over, so yeah, hopefully everyone's enjoying this content. I'm hoping to get, I was hoping phase 0 tonight, but because it's taken me a little bit longer to do the sprints, I don't know if I can do both the customer and the organizations. But I'll at least do one of them. Yeah, and then it's just the last one, which will be customers, and then, yeah, we're going to do unit tests for it all. And I don't know how to do that. Oh, welcome back everyone. I'm just going on a rant here. Ads are over. So, we're going to test this. What we're going to do is we're going to... Which one do I want to copy? I'm going to copy the project. So I'm going to duplicate this one. We're going to go and call it sprint. Easy done. We're going to open up the team leader. We're going to open up this. We're just going to type in sprint. I'm just going to... Yeah, I need to actually update the... Give me a second. Sorry, I need to actually grab the correct tokens. We'll need to create a fixture with these tokens in there. Might be hard. It's just us. You're building a new database, putting the tokens in there, and then overriding the fixture. That's easy. We'll also need to fill out the database a little bit more. The idea being is I want a little bit more data in there for testing purposes. All right, cool. So that works. I've just realized I haven't actually hooked up the URLs. I'm constantly doing this. So we're going to go over into the URLs. I'm going to close all of these now as we don't need those references. We're just going to do this. Element OPQRS. So router.register. We've got an R, and then we got sprint, and then we need the sprint API view dot sprint view set, and then base name is going to be called sprint. Easy done. We just need to actually import that view now, so that will be sprint API view. Easy done. We do actually have another one down here. That's for available data. So for example, you can sort of find available data using that. Now I just realized that we possibly have all the sprints in there with that data, but we could use the search with the proper search function. All right, so don't worry. I think we might have duplicated something, but it's fine. Now we just send. We got a 500. Could not resolve keyword sprint into field. Choices are not a problem. We're gonna. This is why we test. This is exactly why we test. We're gonna go in here, we're gonna break things, and then we're gonna test, and we're like, that's how I broke it. Should not have done that. So, in the sprint API view, we're going down to the list section. So, these will be perfectly fine. The object assignment results, that should pass. What line are we breaking on? Let's find out. Let's go down here where somewhere down. Oh. Yeah, we don't have sprint. Socks, we don't have sprint. I think I know what's going wrong. If I put a breakpoint here, we won't reach it. See, we just don't reach it. It's these permissions. So if I go to this permission here, and I click on a breakpoint here, and I just go send, we hit that breakpoint, here we are. We're just gonna bounce through, like, all right, cool, yada, 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 destination doesn't equal anything, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, it'll grab the destination from the URL. Oh, it's a sprint, all right, not a problem. Then we hit the generic permissions. So if I go into the generic permissions, I'm going to put a breakpoint right here, and I'm just going to hit play. All right, cool. So this person is team leader. Extra permissions doesn't equal anything. No extra permission in the quags. We've got the user group results. So yep, that's perfectly fine. Location ID in the quags. No, we don't have location ID in the quags. Now we've got object lookup sprint. And this is where it fails, because sprints, this is the weirdness of this particular object. It actually takes the permissions from its parent. So yeah, it's gonna fail there. I know it's gonna fail there. I'm like, all right, sweet. How am I gonna fix this? I'm gonna check what I did for the sprints themselves. We might actually need a specialized permission set. So we're gonna go into the sprint views. We're gonna be like, all right, cool. Check sprint permissions with sprint. This is actually just the listing of them. So we're gonna do the listing one in here too. Oh, that would be part of search. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let's go search views. Let's scroll down. Let's figure this out. We can, because we can. We got the get sprint search data. That's an internal function. There's our search data, search customer data, search group data, search notifications, search organizations, permission set. This is all in alphabetical order, so I could have just scrolled. Search sprint. Okay, cool. It just renders out a page. So if we go over here and we go find sprints, it hits this page and then it searches search print data. All right, there it goes. So requires methods, login required. Ooh, no permission checks, which makes sense because we're searching for something. We filter out everything that we need to. That's the wrong thing I'm actually making changes to. So we go in here, we just remove it. Because people can search for sprints. Yeah, they'll be able to search for sprints. Okay, cool. So I'm going to hit send. We've hit all of these breakpoints. There you go. I just deleted all of them. All right, now we've got another problem. Got attribute error when attempting to get a value from the field destination on serializer, sprint serializer. Oh. Yeah. All right. Because we'll need to search for all of them. All right, I'm gonna... Oh, I've got to think about this. All right, so each object will have a destination and a location ID. That destination being either one or two keywords, project or requirement. And this is the fun thing about this whole entire process. Yes. Yes. How am I going to solve this? So it's actually doing everything correctly. It's hitting this one particular line. So if we breakpoint that one line and we go send again, you see we've hit it. And then if we go forward, we've got a serializer. We just don't have the destination location ID with that serializer. And the one problem is, it's one of those sort of cases where I can either remove this entirely, the destination location ID, from this get. However, it is kind of useful having that information pass through. Usually we would just fill it out. As part of the values, we would annotate something on. And the thing is, if you're doing a lot of data, we don't want that to take too long to actually do. So I'm tossing up whether or not I spend the trouble actually getting this information into the list. So if I were to go into the sprint serializer, and I'm just going to unrequire these and do another send. We'll get our data. Like that. And that worked a treat. We just won't have location and destination there. I mean, in reality, kind of okay. We only need it for importing it and stuff in certain cases. I mean, it's something easy to get rid of in certain cases. So anything with a get, we'll get rid of it. Anything with a post, put, or delete, we'll make sure it's there. But it'll be great if I can fill it out. Now I can fill it out on the single item. That's not going to be a problem. It's the multi-items. I need to figure that out. So what we want to do, Django RRM, we want if else conditional expressions. So going through here, all right, cool. When account then name. Okay. When account this count equals case. That's kind of what I want. The case sort of statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this. We're going to have to import case value and when, but that's perfectly fine. So in here we got our sprint results. This gets annotated in, and that will happen down here. So that will be .annotate. We do something like that. We're going to add code in here. I'm just going to paste it in. God, it looks horrible. I'm going to undo that. What we're going to do is we're going to have destination equals, and then I'm going to have a case when one sorry, I thought I copied that. like so. This is 118. So going up here, what we want is case, and then when. Oh, case is just spelled case, isn't it? Yep, when, and value. Yeah, we want value. So, do they have? Oh, I'm just going crazy. That's meant to be like that. Okay, so cases when that, and then we've got default equals value, and we're just going to go nothing for that. So, in here, what we want is case when project I think that's it. So when the project ID is null or false, then the value will be project. That should be it. And then we do a similar thing here, where requirement ID is null, is false, then the value should be a requirement. And then default is nothing, that's perfectly fine. And then what we want to do is location ID equals case, and we won't need project in here, it'll just be project ID. And requirement ID. Okay. Don't think that will work. There's another. There's another one in here that I think is just called F. And that's where I just go F. Like that. Okay. Is this going to work? I don't think so. But we're going to test it. Anyway, we're going to see if it does. Hey. We forgot to actually put in we forgot to undo this. There we go. You know I forgot something. It didn't work. I know that. The tears are real. Alright, so it came back. We've got destination, project, and location 2. Alright, that's what I want. I'm happy with that. And it came back actually rather quick at 34 milliseconds. Not too bad. So, going through this, we've got project and 2 on here. So this should say project ID 2 there. Yep, that's perfectly fine. And then this one should say requirement 2. If we scroll down in here, requirement ID 2, yeah, perfect. Working how we want it. Which is great news. I'm happy with this. So, yeah, the list is working perfectly fine. And we do get a little bit of extra data, which we do kind of want for the user. What do you love about being a dev? Well, the problem solving. So, for example, just then, I am riding on a very big high right now, being like, yeah, I just solved that. Didn't think I could do it, but I did. So, yeah. Mainly problem solving. That's the main thing. Bit of creativity in it too. Yeah. I'm assuming you're either trying to become a dev or you're a dev. All right, so we've done that. I'm very happy with this. We can actually use the annotate. Yeah, we can use the annotate for below. And thank you very much for the follow, Musev. I do apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. Welcome, welcome. I do hope you are enjoying my content. Okay. Freelancing right now? Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. See your YouTube comment. Oh, okay. Oh, cheers. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just didn't notice your comment. Sorry. I do apologize. I will get better. So, yeah, I just need it all in one spot. YouTube's actually on a separate laptop at the moment. So, yeah. But thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Twitch is better. Fair enough. Twitch is easier to discover people, I find. Alright. It's also got the drop game. So, exclamation point drop followed by your favorite emoji. I'm doing Grumpy Max. And they get parachuted down. So, with the retrieve, we've got the serializers and stuff like that. We don't actually have this up here. So, we've got the sprint results. And then what I want to do is, we're going to go sprint results equals sprint results dot annotate. Oh, we can't. Not a problem. What we do is, we just go if sprint results dot project is not none. We then go sprint dot destination equals project. Sprint results, not sprint. And we got sprint results again. Location ID equals sprint results dot location ID. Oh, project ID. And then we do the same if sprint results dot requirement is not none, and then we're just putting that into there too. Oh. And that will be the requirement ID. Alright, cool. The songs. Oh, yeah, nope, that brought that up. Alright, cool. Yeah, it's part of the Heartbound soundtrack. Yeah, created by Parrot Software. I do need to actually edit that because I'm not mentioning the musician. So I keep forgetting his name. Sorry, Socks. She just jumped then. Yeah, sorry, I've got to actually research who the artist is. But yeah, it's for the Heartbound game. Alright, so where was I? I was doing this, I was doing that. Socks did a little jump. That should retrieve one. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. We're going to go over here. We're going to go and paste this one in. We need to go sprint one in here. This particular user won't have access. We should get a 403. We get a 500 internal error instead. That's probably because of the permissions. Yeah, it's because of the permissions. So not a problem. What we're actually going to do is we're going to look at how we've done it elsewhere. So we're just going to go to the sprint views. We're actually going to go into not the sprint list, but the sprint information. We've got check sprint permissions with, yeah, all right, cool. So what I want to do is I want to go into that implementation. We've got a simple decorator. Make sure the user is, yep, all right, cool. If sprint ID in the quarks, then we print that through. If the location is also in the quarks, we pass that through. That's not going to be the case. We're going to have a PK. But not a problem. What I tell you what I'll do is I will copy this. I'll put this over here. I will place that there. I'll delete that decorator. I will click on this. I will just import it in. Easy done. We are going to put a breakpoint here. And we're just going to hit send. I'm going to debug this. Already got a 500 error. Sprint view set. Object has no attribute. User. Yeah. All right. No, I'm gonna need to do something. So what's actually happening is with this particular sprint permission, it's looking at the request differently, and yeah. Now I'm just wondering if I can hijack this to be like, all right, cool, here's all the data and all that kind of stuff, and then process it. Or if it's just easier to create another decorator for it. So we already have a couple of decorators. We've got API permissions, API object data permissions. We might need API sprint permissions. So if we open up object data permissions, you can see in here, it's not as complicated, this one. This one's actually really, really easy. API permissions. Yeah, that one's pretty easy too. Are we not checking for super users? Probably not, now that I think about it. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. I'm just going to have a look at the request. So we're just going to open it up. We don't have user in here. And I know I did something somewhere else, and I forgot where I've done it. Where I've added in the user. And Lockin, hey bro, what is this project we're working on? Hey, I need even one to... Alright. So I'm working on NearBeach, an open source project management system built using Django and VueJS. We're currently implementing an API into it. You wanted to contribute to open source, but I just can't properly set up the project in the first place. By the way, I work in Python and JavaScript. Do you mean NearBeach itself or any other project? NearBeach itself, you can just clone it and you can just start getting working with it straight away. You will probably need to set up a virtual environment, but we do have documentation on that. Give me a couple of seconds. Sorry, my oh, that's the wrong URL. So YouTube's set up on a different machine. So yeah. Now, it did say the ads were coming. Don't say I've missed the ads. No, they're coming. They're still coming. Local development environment. So, for example, we've got documentation on that. There you go. Alright, stocks, no one talking over there. Alright, sweet. Oh, and we've just hit ads. So, yeah. Getting into open source can be hard and tricky. I will agree with that, especially considering there's a lot of projects out there that are well established. They have certain guidelines and stuff like that. It's very tricky to jump into it because you got to know a lot of the moving parts and so forth like that. But then again, that's the same with any sort of new project that you're picking up. I remember when I joined my current job, I just didn't know where anything was, and it was a nightmare to find stuff, and it took me months to start submitting code properly and all that kind of stuff. However, nowadays I'm like, yeah, I can do that, and I just do something very, very quickly. So, yeah. I'm still learning though, still learning, always still learning. I will always still be learning, so yeah, until I retire, and then I'll probably learn something else. So, yeah. Anyway, for those wondering, yeah, we just have ads on Twitch, and we just jump onto this over here, so no one misses out on anything. And everyone should be back. Welcome back, everyone. All right, so we hit this, we hit the request. If I open up that, we definitely don't have any user in here, but we do have request in here. Again, and then we got user. So one thing I could potentially do to fix this is I could go, all right, cool. Pull the user out. So if request is not null or something like that, do that, and yeah, pull the user out using that sort of method. The other things in here are the quags. We've only got primary key of 1. We do have arguments in here. And this is specifically, we can actually pull out the PK. So that's not going to be a problem. We can actually do that in here. Okay, I'm going to hit play knowing that this is going to fail. That's perfectly fine. Because it's like, has no attribute that. I'm just going to see what we did elsewhere. I know I've done this somewhere else. I know I have. Ooh. I mean, it won't be hard to actually copy this across. Don't sit on my keyboard, sweetie. All right. Yeah, I thought I did. Okay, and it looks like I'm not checking for administration permissions. That is something I should implement in the near future. Our unit tests should pick that up when I start writing them, because I will make sure the user has access. Because if someone's a super user, they should have access to everything. Isn't that right, Socks? And she's like, yes. Yes, they should. Alright. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this and we are going to modify it. That's perfectly fine. This will be specifically for the API, whereas we'll have one for the Django sort of build and stuff like that. And then what we'll do is we'll sort of later in the future be like, all right, what are the differences? How can we smush them together so we only have one decorator? That's if it's plausible to do that. So what we want to do is we want to copy the sprint permissions. We're going to copy. We're going to paste them. We're going to call them API sprint permissions underscore version 0, because this is part of the version 0 stuff. And we're going to add them in. Now, this is check sprint permissions with destination. I don't think we need that. It's this one that we want. So it's going to be request.request.user is superuser, and that's going to pass that. In this sort of case, a lot of this won't work. So what we want to do is we want the sprint ID. We do want to double check this and all that kind of stuff. All right, so that won't work. Socks. I need my keyboard. Socks. Bro, do you Spring Boot? What's Spring Booting? Sorry, that probably also answers your question at the same time. However, I don't know. Computer programming, Spring Boot. No, I haven't used Spring Boot before, sorry. Nothing against them or anything like that, I just haven't used it. I mean, yeah. So if we got Sprint ID, will actually be just the PK. That's it. So we can actually get rid of a lot of this data. So we got the Spring results of, and yeah, and then we deal with that, and then we deal with that. And then everything should work perfectly fine. Famous last words. So we're going back into the API. We're actually going to replace this. This will actually be called... Now, I've been calling other stuff, check user API permissions, check Sprint API permissions. We're just going to call it that. We're going back into the API, we're just going to paste that over. Boom, that's going to be fine. We just import that. Easy done. So, let's hit this. Now, we've got another error. Don't you dare jump down from this height. You're getting old. There you go, sweetie. She's turned 11. So, Sprint view set has no attribute user. Oh. Alright. I am going to close all other tabs at the moment. We're just going to open up what we need. I'm just going to hit there. We're going to redo this. We've hit this. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to extend it open. So I've done request, piss. I click the little arrow. Request. Then user. His super user is in there. Alright. That's fine. Now with the quarks, we've got the PK equals 1. And there it goes. So we got the project coming out. So the sprint results, the project and stuff like that. That's perfectly fine. So is not null. This is where we're checking Quarks project ID. All right, no, that's not a problem. We're actually putting it into the Quarks to feed through. We're going to fix this up. When we actually finish the API and stuff like that, we are going to come back to the permissions and actually fix them up. Just because getting the data with the API is going to be a lot easier to do. And then we've got the functional dictionary and stuff like that. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Oh, it fails on that. So... Okay, go to implementation. I'm going to go to implementation. Yeah, alright. So, this one's a little bit more tricky to do. All right, with the object permission, we've got all of these in here like that. That's just a functional dictionary. Yeah. What we'll probably need to do is get it to hit the generic APIs from here. So, if we got API permission version 0 in here, does it check user API permission? We split stuff off. We've got the destination. And then we've got the destination length. Easy done. Because it follows a particular pattern. And yes, sweetie. And then it goes through here. Oh, generic permissions. Oh, but then again, we can't use generic permissions. If requested it is has acted else. That's the line we want. And that will be the line that fixes everything. Sorry, I'm just opening up my cupboard because my cat just wants to actually go into the cupboard for no apparent reason. I don't know why she wants to go in there. Okay, so we might need to copy this line into several other different places so we can keep using the generics as much as possible. That's going to be helpful. In which case, then I can get rid of the API, the sprint permissions, because we can just do this. I think that's going to be the solution. Yeah. Not a problem. We'll just delete this. Bye. What we want to do is, I'm just going to close all tabs. I'm going to open up our sprint permissions. We are going to paste that at the top. We then just do reference it like this. So we don't need to reference request anymore. Unless it's something like this. Oh, that's how I can do it. No, I'm overcomplicating a lot of this. All right. I could override request. Give me a second. No, I've got this. Equals request.request if has attribute request else request. All right, so we're overriding the request with the other request. The quarks down here, so elif pk in quarks, then we want the sprint ID equals quarks pk. Once again, we're going to clean up a lot of this. So when we actually, one of the reasons why the permissions are so sort of complicated is we've created our own sort of API that we're hitting. There's issues with it. When we get rid of it, we'll have the normal system, so the Django stuff, and we'll have the API. And we'll probably move a lot of these sort of API calls into their own sort of permissions, and then the front-end permissions will all be just generic, which is going to be great for us. And then converting from the API to the generic is just going to be really, really easy. We essentially do a line like this, and we're happy. So that's going to go through perfectly fine. If I just copy this, let's go back to our API because we've definitely broken it now. So sprint this view, we're just going to go paste this in. So that should work. I do believe this won't work, so we'll get rid of that. Everything should start running again. I'm going to put a little breakpoint there, hope for the best. I'm going to hit send. We've got an error. I'm just going to hit rerun and stuff like that, just in case we've got an error. No, we don't. It was just not sending it. Or it's, all right, cool. So we've got this. That should now make the request, yeah, into that sort of request, which is what we want. And move forward. There's our sprint ID. We go down here, we get our sprint stuff, we make sure if it's a project, we get our passes. This user does not have access. Raise permission denied, and we get raised. Yeah, cool, perfect. That's what we wanted. I'm happy. So yeah, but yeah, when we do the API, we'll simplify the API. Sorry, the permissions and stuff like that, because a lot of we'll move everything to the API, and inside the API, we'll be able to access required information a lot easier. And we'll know the shape of the data coming through, and yeah, it'll make it a lot easier. So, oh, I forgot to edit this. This is going to be get sprint one, team layer and stuff like that. So we want to save this. We want to save this. We want to save this. I want to close everything else. So we got the sprint. We got this. You okay there, Socks? So sprint 2, the user should have access. Yeah, you wanted to say something. You gonna say something? Ah, whoops. I'm just gonna undo that and just hit play, and boom, we got our 200. All right, sweet. I'm happy. Okay, so the put. I need to edit this and sprint. We're gonna hit save. I'm just gonna close everything. It's getting rather cluttered up there. So down here we've got the sprint, and then do I have this open? Yes, I do. So I'm just going to go authorize, no, sorry, the headers. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to save. I'm also going to quickly do it for these particular ones because it'll take 2 seconds. Oi. All right, with the put, we're putting it into sprint. This won't work straight off. But that's perfectly fine. We've got an error. All right, no problem. Let's have a look. Cannot resolve keyword sprint into. All right. Once again, we're dealing with permissions that don't exist. So we're going to go over here. We're going to open up our sprint API. We're just going to copy that. We're going to go down. We're going to paste it. We're going to have a 2 in there. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to also do that. The update, yeah, the update should be a 2. The list should be nothing. The destroy should be a 4. And the create needs to be a 3. Sorry, I forgot to put them in there. Alright, he's done. That's just so, and it's gonna be, hey, how you got? Oh, you landed 11.01. Nice. I'm putting in the min permission levels so people actually know what that value means when they're reading the code, and that's all. Alright, going back with this, we are just going to hit refresh, and we've got the sprint. Oh, yep, there we go. This field is all required and stuff like that. So yeah, let's delete some data from here. So delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that, delete that, and delete that. Let's go from the start. Let's go destination. I'm going to do 1. This is going to fail, and that's fine. I'm going to do, sorry, destination project. Location 1. Sprint name. Going to be called Sprint of Pain. Sprint start date. I deleted some start dates, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the post. I'm going to go into the body. I'm going to just yank this date in here. Don't worry about it. And then we got sprint end date. And that's it. That's the data we need. I'm just going to send that. We've got a preview. Alright, we've actually hit an error. So, yeah. Cheater. Yeah, I know. I just can't be bothered typing out all of that. Yeah. Alright, so... Okay. Sorry, my brain just decided to go, look, alright, cool. This is the put, so this is part of the create. Which goes up at the top before destroy. So we're hitting this. Let's see if we hit that breakpoint. No, we don't. We hit a issue in here. So we're going to go into here. We're going to put that there. And we're going to hit send. So we hit this. Why do we have pk equals 2? Oh, sorry, I'm just realizing I mucked something up. And Frozen Fusion, welcome. Thank you very much for the follow. And Melsila, thank you very much for the follow too. I think I accidentally missed you there. Thank you very much. All right. I'm doing something wrong here. This is a put. This is updating. All right, this makes sense now. So yeah, I'm definitely updating. It's, yeah, my brain's like going, all right, cool. It's late at night. You've been working all day. So we definitely have data in here. We hit this. We got true. We got that. Hang on. NearBeach sprint status. NearBeach dot sprint status. need to learn Rust. I think you would love it. Eventually, yeah. I do like strongly typed languages and stuff like that, and Rust has actually sort of piqued my interest, or piqued my interest. I'm interested in it. So the only problem is I don't have a new project working to sort of implement it. So yeah. Oh, all right, no, I'm being silly. I'm being doubly silly, everyone. So, the permissions work perfectly fine. I put the breakpoint in the wrong spot. I put it on create. It's a put. It's an update. All right, so update here. It is stating... Yeah, I don't have any problem with Rust at all. It's just... I just don't have a project for it. So, yeah. Considering I use a lot of .NET at work, I've used PHP, I've used Python, I've used C, C++, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm happy picking up another language. But yeah, I'll need a project with it. Alright, so going in here, it is saying sprint status, not null constraint failed. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to hit send. We've got sprint status in here. We don't need that. That's it. That's the one line causing this problem. Python front and Rust back makes a powerful combo. Yeah. I've just realized I left the breakpoint on. And there we go. So we've just updated the data. We don't have sprint status there. And we don't have... So if I go to the front end and I go sprint information to, because we can access it this way, we've got sprint of pain, it's in draft, we don't have the status coming through, which is really, really annoying. In which case what we need to do is then go sprint results equals sprint.objects.get, and then we'll just go pk equals pk, because that'll be the quickest way to do it. And then we'll need to pass that through the serializer equals sprint serializer, and then we've got sprint results, and that's it. So if I hit send, destination, and all right, that's where I go. Sprint results dot destination equals, then it will be quite literally sprint results dot data dot get destination. We do the same thing with sprint results dot location ID equals sprint results data get location ID. Easy done. That's that. That's just feeding data through. Oh, and we've hit another ad break. All right. Hopefully everyone's going well. So yeah, talking about programming languages. I bought this like 15 years ago, and I sadly have not read it yet. Because I was like, you know what? I want to build more desktop applications on GNOME and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to build something, and I never read it. So, yeah. Which is a pity. Because at the time I was using Qt and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, cool. I like Qt. I want to expand my knowledge. Just never read it. Yeah, I got it either maybe 2012. So yeah, long time ago. I don't think, because GTK has moved on. Don't think this is now viable with the new one. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Because, yeah, they're on stable release 4. And welcome back, everyone. And I think this book is dealing with 3? Yeah. I forgot what version this is dealing with, but yeah. Bought it, never read it. Silly me. Alright, so, getting back into this. We've got an error. Sprint has no attribute data. Oh, silly me. Serializers. There we go. Alright. This will work now. There we go, done. And it passes through everything, and then we get all this information in here and stuff like that. So that way we can definitely update the front end if anything has changed and so forth like that. When someone hits submit. Cool. I'm happy. So now we just need to do a post. So we're gonna save this. So Sprint worked. I realized that, ooh. Put doesn't need destination location ID. Because we're not updating those values. We can make it so that it does double check that the user is updating the correct. Sorry, I'm having a quick think here. Because yeah, sprints do work. I think in sprints do work in a particular way. When we're deleting something, yeah, we do want to actually double check that we're deleting something with the wrong object ID and stuff like that. But when we're updating something, you not necessarily need it. Let's have a look at the notes, what I do with the notes. So with the note API, the destroy, we actually get the location ID and we double check that, hey, listen, is this all correct? Because we're only dealing with numbers with that one, and someone can fat finger in the wrong number. With the update, we do check it. Okay. So I'm going to go with that logic again. Okay, not a problem. That's easy done. So what we want to do is we want to flat pack variables. We've got our destination equals serializer to data.get and destination, and then we've got our location ID equals serializers.data.get and location ID. With this particular one, we want to do something like this. And then we'll do something like this. Let's go ID is the location ID. And then this will actually be a filter. if the length of update sprint equals 0, return response data equals sprint not found. Status equals status. Dot 400 bad request. And then update sprint equals update sprint, and then we're just grabbing the first one. So we just made sure everything's good. Update sprint. Yeah, we grab the first one. It then becomes a query object, and we just do all that. All right. So this still stands, and once again, we'll document this process. Oops, this is a bit different. Sorry, once again, this is a bit different to the other objects because it's somewhat a child object. It's not quite a child object, but it's somewhat a child object, and we'll be handling the child objects in the same sort of manner. Just so, yeah, so you don't. It's to help try and stop mistakes. I mean, it's gonna happen no matter what. So, what I want to do is I want to type in destination. And that will be project. And location. That's gonna be 1. Sprint not found. All right, cool. If I type in a 2, boom, data done. So yeah, that's how I want to do it. Similar thing with the actually, no, with the post it's going to be easier. So, post sprint. All right, we're going to post something in. This will automatically be a 500 error, and we understand that. Sprint ID got a number, but the REST framework. All right, cool. Let's that's part of the permission issues. So that's part of the create. So we're going to go up here. We're going to go into this implementation. I think it's because yeah, it's because of this. So what are we doing with the sprint views? So let's have a look at what we're doing with the sprint views. So sprint views, we're going to scroll down to the new sprint. Sorry, scroll up to the new sprint. So we've got check sprint permissions with destination. That's new sprint. All right, so if we go to that implementation, that's this one up here. All right, so we're doing something slightly different. No problem. I'm just going to copy that decorator. We're going to go over here and be like, you know what? You might want that. And we're just going to try it. We're just going to hit send. You do not have permission to perform this action. All right, not a problem. Let's find out why. Because I actually do have permission. So what we want to do is we want to right-hand click. We want to go to this implementation. We're just going to put a breakpoint right here, and we're just going to go send. Boom. There we are. So we've got no quarks. Easy. So length of args equals 0. We don't have the destination or anything like that. All right, this one. Yeah. All right, so we've already got a problem. We don't have destination at all. So it's going to go no destination. The destination is not in any of that because, yeah, that's not the destination. All right, this one's going to be tricky because I've got to check the destination of either the project or the requirement. So, depending what they're actually making it for, in which case I need to actually get the serialized data out. I need to actually make a permission for this. Not a problem, we can do that. And yeah, it won't be hard to actually implement. Famous last words. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just giving it a good think for the moment. So, goes through here, we get all the quarks and the destination, then we pump it through the function dictionary where we've got the destination and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, alright, cool. We can do this. We've got the location ID. The quarks are empty. They're empty. Yeah, they're empty. The arguments have the URL and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all right. The next, I do need to make this in its own permissions set. So let's do that right now. Let's go back up to our decorators. So inside our decorators, that's the check user permission. Yep, all right, cool. We don't need the partials. I'm going to right-hand click. I'm going to go new. I'm going to go file, and I'm just going to type in API sprint permissions version 0.py. And we're going to add it in. In here, I'm going to move that to the over there and keep it as reference. So what we want to do is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to copy those 9 lines. Easy done. We're just going to paste them in. We're going to change this. So check sprint permission. We're going to keep it like that name for the moment. Once again, we're going to come back and review all these permissions when we actually implement the API over everywhere, because a lot of it, the API will simplify. Sorry, a lot of the API will simplify a lot of these permissions. Sorry. All right. So we've got that. We've got the def decorator, and that's just function at wraps func def inner request args and quarks. Easy done. So I can actually get the data really easy. So all I need to do is serializer, and then we just get the data. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We grab the 2 lines. We're doing this. We'll import this very, very quickly. If not, we're going to raise permission denied. Easy done. We could do permission error. Yeah, why not? And then from here, if I have a look on the right-hand side, we check to see if the user is a super user. So we're going to go and do that magical command that we did before straight at the top. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna serialize, and then we are going to do this 1, 2, 3. All right. Like so, easy done. And from here, we're just putting in the quarks. So we've got the destination ID. So I'm just gonna go destination equals serializer.data.get and destination. We're writing this out terribly. All right, with the idea that I know I'm going to come back and actually do this properly. We just need permissions slotted in there at the moment. What is this project? This is NearBeach. So yeah, an open source project management system. We're currently implementing an API for it. So yeah, and it'll be great once we get this all implemented, because these permissions will absolutely become so much easier. It'll be very generic, which will be nice. Will be very, very nice. All right, flat pack these values, and then location ID equals serializer.data.get, and then location ID. We're all happy with that. And then fold the location ID into the destination ID. All right, cool. So that will be quarks. Now goes F destination. We've got the ID in here. Oops. Equals the location ID. Easy done. So we're happy with that. We'll need to import the func def. I think 39 to 54. So that will be fine. Sorry, 39. That will be 15. Should be able to do that a lot faster. Ooh. I might be breaking something. Oh no, that's right. Def and all that kind of stuff. Easy done. We're just going to go down. I don't know why that's down to 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's 3 all the way over there. So 1 for the decorator, 2 for the inner, and then 3. Yeah, no, that's 2. Oh, I'm blind as a bat. Okay, that should be it. What is the project I'm working on? It's called NearBeach, an open source project management system. We're currently implementing an API. So yeah, slowly getting there. We're currently fiddling around with the permission systems. Once again, we're going to refactor them once the API is fully released, just because dealing with the API will actually simplify quite a lot of this, and a lot of it then just becomes generic lookups and so forth like that. And it'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Does this have location ID attached to it? No, it's a new thing. All right, cool. We're just got to look at the permission sets, maximums. Otherwise, we've got to do this, and yeah. It'll be good. It'll be good. So that should be all ready. If we go into the the API now, what we want to do is we want to paste that over. We're just going to hover over this. We're going to add, get back here. There we go. We're going to import that right now. That should work perfectly fine. And that should be check API sprint permissions. And once again, when we refactor everything like this, we're actually going to uniform all the names, so it'll be all generic and all that kind of fun stuff. Alright, so going over here, I'm just going to hit send. Now that might have a problem because... Oh, I need to... Alright, yeah. We should also get rid of stuff we're not using anymore. Alright. As I clean up stuff, I like to break stuff, purposely. It brings me great joy. As I delete code that I really shouldn't have been deleting. Alright. We've got 500 internal error, no exception method supplied. That's perfectly fine. We're hitting that in the permissions. That's perfectly fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this, like this, and we're just going to go send. I'm going to find out where we hit this issue. I'm going to close that one. So we're going to go forward. We're going to go forward. Now, hopefully the serializer is valid. Oh, it isn't. Alright, I probably should do permission error. I should do permission denied. Oh, actually, no. I'm just thinking how we can do this properly. So from REST framework import status and response. Actually, no. It'll be from REST framework dot response import response. There we go. So what we want to do, return response data equals serializer dot errors. We kind of want to tell the user, hey, you've got an error. And status will equal status dot HTTP bad request. Easy done. So I think that's going to be the better solution. And we're just going to hit send. We've got this. It's now going to go into there. I should get rid of that breakpoint. Sweet. We've got all the errors in here. So what I want to do is I kind of want to delete a lot of this data. Just realized that I need the date times, but we'll go back and copy again. So we're going to go destination. We're going to go project again. We're going to go location ID. We're going to write in a location I don't have access to. We're going to have a sprint name, and we're going to call it the wonderful pain sprint. We're going to go to the sprint start date and the sprint end date. But I am going to copy that data from over here, just because I can't be bothered typing out a date time like that. Alright, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go send. You do not have permissions to perform this action. Perfect. That's what we want. I'm going to go number 2. I'm going to go bang, and we've hit this. So I'm just going to go play. And we've got the ID 7. Sweet. Awesome. So we're able to create... We've got number 7 now. So if we go to the front end, we get rid of this, we go to number 7. Boom. We don't have any data in here yet. That's perfectly fine. We've also put in a very small sprint date. That should not be that small. So that's perfectly fine. What we want to do now is we want to do the delete. And once again, with the delete, we'll need form data. So if I go send, destination, location, ooh, all right, we need to get rid of those 3, but we still need the destination location ID in there. And the reason being is, once again, this is a child object. We actually want the user to key in the parent object in there. It just makes it a lot easier for us to actually find the child, to find the permissions and stuff like that. Also, it's double checking to make sure that the user knows what thing that they're removing from what particular parent. So, the former is the more important one. So, we need to get rid of those whenever we're doing a delete. Let's go into the serializer. So, we're going down here, we're going into the serializer. I am going to open up the Sprint serializer. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. We're going to go, all right, cool. We want a def get fields, self. Easy way to do this is we're just going to open up the board serializer. We're just going to yank the next 60 lines, and what we're going to do is we're just going to paste them like this. Delete this. Realize that we could have done that a little bit better. So we've got the get fields. So the fields equals fields. Yep. All right. Request. All right. So that's just checking to make sure everything's working. So the request post, we're fine with. It's not the put. It will be the delete. And then what we need to do. So we're just going to do that. And I'm just going to copy these over. Like so. So we no longer need that data. And if I go send, it'll come back with a problem, but that's perfectly fine. So if I actually type in destination destination project, and let's say location ID is a 1, it's going to come with a no sprint delete, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to do a number 2, and we're going sprint deleted. If we go over here again and hit this, boom, we've got a problem because that is deleted. And Aiden, how are you going? Good lunchtime, except it's evening for you. Yes. Yes, it's 9:10 here, so yeah. I am just getting some, the API sort of done. We're almost done with the sprints, and then we're moving on to organizations and customers. And that will be done for, sorry, phase 1. Sorry, my brain, it's late at night. Yeah, but I can do another release tonight, which is nice. So we can get this released, we can get it tested. Yeah, and as I'm going through the code, I'm like, yeah, we're going to need to actually redo or refactor the user permissions and stuff like that. So yeah, for the 3rd and hopefully final time, but that's not going to happen until 0.32. And we've got to write in a lot of unit tests before I do that because I don't want to break anything again. All right, so I don't think I broke. I think I didn't save. So I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna go all the way down to our. Scroll all the way up to our not created, destroyed. Okay. I'm going to bump over here. I'm going to go into our sprint. I'm just going to go into 7. It is deleted. We actually have a critical bug. Ad break in progress. All right. Cool. Trust me, to find a bug and an ad break actually happens. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Yeah. I'm actually going to quickly grab a drink of water. I will be right back. I won't be long. It's been a couple of hours of talking, so yeah. All right, I'm back with the ads. All right, we're almost done. Welcome back, everyone. All right. Oh yeah, cheers. Thank you very much, Aiden. So we had, yeah, we've been getting a few of those lovely bots. We have a critical, a rather concerning issue. We're not telling the user. Hang on, let me. A sprint isn't disappearing whenever we delete it. We can still get to it. Now, I forgot what version of NearBeach I'm on because in the last couple of days, I've been updating them like no tomorrow. So we're on, all right. Which means that these are all out of date. So this will probably need to go onto that. And these will probably need to go onto that. Because if we're doing 7.4 tonight, yep. Deleted sprints can still be accessed. Okay, method 1, log into NearBeach to navigate to a current sprint, free delete. Take note of the URL. Delete the sprint. Yes, there are a lot of them. Yeah, they just keep coming. They're annoying as hell. All right. Delete the sprint. Expected results. Hang on. Go back to the URL noted above. Expected results. Get a 404 page. Actual results. Sprint loads. So yeah, this is just something we should have checked. I'm gonna say this is it's quite critical. This is a bug. It isn't a showstopper or anything like that. It isn't breaking anything. This is part of the sprints. So this will be 74. So yeah, 74 is what we're releasing tonight. So I can fix this right now. I'm gonna go create. We're just gonna open this up fully. Let's just fix this. Oh, yeah, we can fix this. But otherwise, this all works. I'm going to commit that first. So I'm going to exit. I'm going to go git status. I'm going to go git add everything, git commit. Implementation of the API for sprints. We're going to just git push that. Yeah, I think crashed up on dev. For a second, when I pushed it, I was like, oh god, did I just push the name? Alright. Let's fix this error. Okay, so I'm going to close all of these tabs. I'm going to minimize everything. I'm going to open up NearBeach. I'm going to open up NearBeach. I'm going to open up the views. I'm going to open up the sprint views. This is part of the sprint information. Yeah, sprint information. Everyone in the uni group project pushes to main except me. Git needs to be taught more. Yeah. And another problem is Git is used differently in other different places and so forth like that. Some places use it loosely, others strongly. Yeah, it's... Alright. Okay, sorry, I'm just playing with the Rubik's Cube. I'm getting hella distracted. Alright, so is that, alright, so we should go into here, and then if we go, if length of sprint results equals 0, raise return HTTP. Bad request. No, it'll be a 404. So we're on 402. Should be that. So we go over here and we hit refresh. Oh. Alright, hang on. Give me a couple of seconds. Might be raised 404. Oh. Raise. All right. Done. That's what we wanted. All right, cool. Not return, raise. So raise 404. However, if we go to one that exists, boom, it works perfectly fine. All right. Let's go into the code. Let's go get status. That's a simple fix. We're going to say bug fix. And we're going to put in that. I'm going to do a git push. Now, we just trying to think, we haven't added any more packages in or anything like that. We can do another release tonight. I'm just thinking, I've only got 40 minutes left to stream. The instant at 10 o'clock hits, I am going to bed. So yeah, I've got a pack for tomorrow and stuff like that. So yeah, it won't be bed straight away. What we want to do is a few things. We've got do the rest of the API. I mean, organization shouldn't be that hard to actually do. We can at least get organization and customer sort of set up. At least get the serializers done. And I think that should be good. And then, yeah, I can do a release later where we fix that bug and we do that, and that should be perfectly fine. Yeah. All right. Let's jump on this. So, if we go into, let's list customers first, because we've got to do the customer first, and then we've got to do the main person. So, if we're in here, I'm just getting distracted with the cube again. You can see that we don't have many fields in here whatsoever. So let's go over here. Let's close all of this. Let's open up NearBeach. Let's open up NearBeach again. Let's open up models. Let's open up our serializers. let's right-hand click and go new file and go customer serializer.py. And then from REST framework, import serializers. And then we won't import any of the models at the moment. We've got a class, and then we've got customer serializer, and that will be serializers.model serializer. Easy done. We've got the class meta in here, and we've got the model, and that will be model, not some random thing that I just filled out then. That's a bit concerning. And that will be the customer. In which case we need to go from NearBeach.models, import, and we're going to do something like that. So we've got that, and then the fields. Let's have a look at the fields. So I'm just going to put the models on the right. I know you won't be able to see them as well as I can, but we're just going to go through. So customer ID, customer title. All right. Yep. I can see that first name, last name, email, profile picture will be a foreign key. All right. Yep. That's going to be a difficult one. That will definitely be a read-only one. Because we won't probably open up the API for that just yet. All right. And then the customer profile picture. We've got the organization. All right, cool. We've got quite a number of bits of data in here. Nothing to remove just yet. We've got date created. All right, these are the ones we want to exclude. Date created, not really needed for the customer. Date modified, not needed. For other bits of data, so for example, when you do a project and stuff like that, date created and date modified do make sense. But with the customer, you're like, yeah, whatever. We don't need the change user. And is deleted is not needed. All right, so going with the top, we've got the customer ID equals the serializers, and this is just a read-only field. We don't need it at all. The customer title equals serializers, and this will be a primary related field where the source hang on. I think I've got to do it like this. All right, so list of titles I need to pass through. That's easy done. And required is going to be true. We definitely need this filled. Then we have customer title name equals serializers dot read only field, and this will be a source, and this will be title name dot title name, I do believe. Let's have a look. So part of the change task serializer, we have. Now that's not for this particular case. That. Yeah, it's a dot. All right, cool. Yeah, just double checking stuff. Easy done. This is a read-only field. We're all happy with that. Then we've got customer first name equals models dot character field. I'm reading the wrong thing. Serializers dot character field required is true. And then we've got customer last name equals serializers dot character field required equals true. We've got customer email equals serializers dot character field required equals true. The profile picture. Now this is for an API. We do actually want the profile picture to come through. Yeah, excuse me. Nope. Okay. Oh, I just spotted something else. So I'm getting distracted. It's at the end of the night. Found a little pigeon. Customer profile picture. I'm going to remove that. The reason being is the profile picture itself. So if we go in here, let's actually do... Actually, I have to turn on Minio. I've got to delete a lot of these. Give me a couple of seconds, sorry. Yeah, let's delete all of those. I don't need those. Those were all tests. What makes NearBeach different? It's not Jira. It's also... everything's sort of loosely coupled together. So, for example, you might want to not use requirements and requirement items, and that's perfectly fine. Or you might want to actually use the requirement and requirement items, and then from there build out tasks and projects and so forth like that, and have them link back. You can also share tasks and projects between different teams. You can also share tasks and projects between different team members, so you can have multiple team members working on the same sort of project and stuff like that. So yeah, we're trying to be as flexible as possible. It's also not Jira. Where was I? I was looking at the customer profile. Let's do this particular image. So this particular image, if we actually then go, we're actually not associated to any objects. So I'm just going to go to an object. I'm going to actually add this customer to this object. So they're now associated here. So if we inspect this little image down here, you'll notice it's got the URL and stuff like that. That's all the user needs with the API. They won't need the UUID key at all. They just need that URL. I'm just thinking how that's done. I know I've done it elsewhere, and we're probably just going to copy what we've done. So if we go profile, I think picture. So we just annotated it in. I mean, that's fine. That's fine, but I do... And then we just need the private at the front. Yeah. Alright. No problem. I should have copied some of that. I'm just yanking that one line. And then what we want to do is we want to have customer profile picture equals serializers.read-only field. And then we need the source. And I'm just going to paste that in. And then I'm going to hope for the best. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will be it. I don't know how to get the private out the front, but I can figure that out later. Let's just see if I can get... I'll just keep moving forward. Alright, so organizations equals serializers dot primary key related field, the source, the query set will equal organization dot objects dot filter is deleted equals false. And required is going to be true. However, that being said, it's only... It'll actually... I'm going to go false. I'm going to go the other way because when we're putting stuff in, we want to pop that field out. When we're posting, we need it. When we're getting it, we need it. We're going to have to... All right, cool. No, it's going to have to be true because it's going to be needed everywhere else. All right, cool. So, yes, I'll need to quickly control that particular field because I will forget. So I'm just going to copy this over here because I know that I have a def get fields, and then we've got the fields equals super dot get fields. Easy done. And then what we need to do is check to see if request exists in context. If requests not in self.context, we then just go and return fields. Because there's nothing we can do. We just return everything and be like, all right, cool, this is how it goes. And then what we want to do is updating an organization if self.context request.method equals put. Yeah, put. So put will be the update. Fields.pop. And then this will be the organization and none. Easy done. Every single other time we'll need that data. However, this time we're just going to remove it. And then, because when you assign a customer to an organization, that's it. They're there. If you've accidentally done the wrong organization, you'll delete the customer and recreate them in the proper place. Yeah. It creates confusion if you sort of move that customer post. Just because if it's connected and assigned to other objects and stuff like that, those will follow. It just becomes confusing. So yeah. All right. So in here, what we need to do is we also need the organization name equals serializers dot read only field, and this will be the source will equal the get. Now this will be organization dot organization name. Easy. That's all we need. So going back down with the models and stuff like that. So we've done the organization. Those we don't need. So this is it. This is it with this particular model. All right, I'm very happy. Cool. All right, so our next step is let's go new serializer. So we want organization serializer.py. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. I am thinking I haven't. From REST framework, import serializers. And then from NearBeach, .models, import. We won't need customers. Will we need organization? I don't think so. Oh, yes, we do. Organization. Then we need class organization serializer. Just making sure I've been keeping, yep, serializer. That will be serializer.model serializer, easy done. And then from here, we'll have a class meta. We'll have the model equals organizations. We'll have the exclude equals, and we'll just go through it right now. So we've got the ID, name, website, email, profile picture. Once again, we'll do the profile picture. Oh, we'll exclude this particular thing. So this will need to be in here. Organization. And 0 day 3301. How are you going? What were you up to on your stream? And thank you very much for the raid. It is greatly appreciated. So yeah, let me give you a shout out. If memory serves you correctly, you're doing a lot of security stuff, right? Making sure yeah, there we go. There we go. Welcome everyone from 0 day. I'm Robotic Head. I've been working on a project management system, an open source project management system for a while now. It's called NearBeach. Let's see if I got it up. Here it is. So you can gather basic sort of organization customer details from there. You can build Kanban boards, gather user requirements, create projects and tasks. And when you're ready to deploy, you've got requests for changes. So yeah. Yes, right. Or insecure stuff. Oh, fair enough. Hopefully what I'm programming isn't insecure. So yeah, fingers crossed. So yeah. Yeah. So today we're working on building, implementing an API in NearBeach. So we've had version 0 or phase 0, I should say, and we got some feedback for it. We've implemented that feedback. We're now actually sort of scaling it out because that first version was a vertical slice. It just had one object and it just dealt with one tiny thing. So now that we've done that, we're sort of moving the slice out, including other objects within NearBeach, and yeah. And then hopefully the API will be good. So, yeah, and secure, hopefully, fingers crossed. So, yeah. Yeah, at the moment, we're currently dealing with the serializers. So I'll build up the serializers. I've just finished building up the serializer for the customer. We're going to do the organization before we create the API endpoints. So, yeah. And we just reached an ad. So I do apologize for those who've just reached the ad. If you don't have ads, awesome. So yeah, but you don't miss anything in any of my ads, unless I'm not paying attention. And for those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch, so users don't get pre-rolled ads. Yeah. So you, if you're on YouTube, you don't get ads anyway, so that's perfectly fine. You do get to see me play with my cube, and you also do get to see socks over here. So, yeah. She's going to meow any minute now. Yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. It's 9:40. I've only got 20 minutes left in me. But we'll see what we can do in that time. And we've also got the release to do. So, yeah, when I finish this, yeah, it'll be time. It'll be time. How am I? 30 seconds to go. All right. I don't know how quick I did the Rubik's Cube then. I'm not even paying attention. All right. All right. We're playing the game. Will I put this back in the correct way? I'm going to put it in that way. All right. So, going to do blues first. Okay, I've got that corner wrong, and I think we're back. I have a feeling we're back. Yeah, we're back. All right, for those that have missed due to the ads, one of the middle pieces fell out. We're playing the game. Did I put it right? Back in correctly, or didn't I? Who knows? We'll find out in a couple of seconds. I did. I did. All right, that's good news. That was a giant fluke. That was a 50-50. And there we go. All solved. Let's jump back into it. So we're going to remove the organization profile picture. We are removing the date created. We're removing the date modified. We're removing the change user. And we're removing the is deleted. He's done. So up here, what we want to also do is from NearBeach.serializers.custom serializer, import the custom serializer. We're going to need that. We're going to have what's called customer list or customers equals serializers dot. Actually, no, this will be custom serializer, and then we'll have many equals true. Null, allow null equals true. I forgot the last one. Sorry, Kanban board to the rescue. Read only is true. Alright, I don't know why I forgot that one. That one should have been on the there. Anyway, so that's just going to list all the customers that are assigned to this. That's going to be perfectly fine. The next thing we want to do is we want to sort of go back down this list. We've got the organization ID equals the serializer dot read only field. There's nothing needed for that. Organization name, serializer character field. Required equals true. That's always going to be required. Organization website. Not request. Sorry, required equals true. It is getting very late. My mum's going to be unhappy that I'm up this late. Organization email. Oh my god. Capital A didn't actually go to... that's why. Okay. Organization profile picture. Equals serializers dot read only. And then the source will equal, and then we're just going to go it's not user profile, it's not change user profile, it's actually going to be organization. Now, I don't know if this will work. I don't know. We won't be testing this tonight, but I can put it in there, we can test it, we probably will hit an error or something like that, and I'll spot it next time, and I'll be like, alright, cool, I need to fix this. So the organization profile picture, the date created, everything else, that's perfectly fine. Alright, so what I'm going to do with serializers is git status, git add, git commit. I'm going to state created serializers for both customer and organization. We're not going to deal with the API section of it tonight. Just because it'll take me probably half an hour to an hour for one of them. And I just don't have that time at the moment because I've only got like 14 minutes left. So now that I've done that, let's actually go to our Circle CI. Let's see how our builds have been doing tonight. Ooh, I need to log in. Give me a couple of seconds, guys. Sorry about this. Gotta make sure I'm not doing anything silly. Okay, nothing silly popped up. Sweet. So going with this, we're just running this one. This one just a minute ago. This is 28 minutes ago. We haven't done much in that time. I'm gonna say this is still passing the unit test. I'm gonna be quite happy with this actually. Gonna run when it deploys. We haven't actually changed any of the JavaScript, so we don't have to run any extra sort of JavaScript or anything like that. It just won't build any different. Unless we have an audit thing going on. So I'm gonna go npm audit. Actually, yes, we do. So npm audit fix. So because we have a security sort of thing going in there, I'm gonna fix that up. And then I'm gonna go npm install, sorry, not npm install, npm run prod. Go give Fox a little sternum scratch. She loves the sternum scratches. So we're just gonna build. All right, we're gonna go git status. All right, so good news. None of the static files have changed. So that just means that particular file was used for the dev sort of stuff. So it shouldn't be a problem. We can do run e2e in here. But considering none of the static files have changed or anything like that, I will push this security npm audit security fix up. Don't worry about that too much. I need to automate this process too. Hopefully one day soon. Alright, so, sorry, this does actually take a little while to actually do. We've got a couple of pages that broke. We're going to have a look at the report. We're just looking at the failed. User failed to log in. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the user failed to log in. That's perfectly fine. We actually run this as separate users and so forth like that. The dark user would have, the dark admin user would have picked up problems. So would have the team leader user. And considering we're not picking up problems with those two, yeah. Are you hacker or are you hacker? Are you hacker? Are you hacker? I can't hack. So yeah. Alright, so I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna go git status again, git add, git commit, update npm package due to security issue. We're gonna do a git push quickly. Alright, sweet. So going into here, we are gonna go to our GitHub. We're gonna go to our NearBeach and NearBeach. I've got to sign in. Sorry, this requires secret screen again. In fact, I might need authentication codes and stuff like that. Give me a second. All right. Authenticator. Unlock. GitHub. Just made it. All right, I'm happy. Let's go back to the workstation. Let's go over here. So we're going to do a compare and pull request. we're going to say new feature, Sprint API implementation. We're also going to go security fixes, update npm packages, and we're going to say bug fixes. And that's where we go over here, we copy this one little thing, and we go into here and we paste it in. And I'm double checking that, yeah, those are, yep, alright, cool. And then I'm just going to copy that. We've got the preview. I'm just going to go create pull request. Now, because I am chaotically evil, I am going to scroll down here. Oh. Alright, resolve conflicts. We have a conflict. Let's do this. So, we are going to take the larger value. Alright. Is there a way I can fix this? Like, this is pretty easy. Oh! Alright, easy done. So we've fixed up that merge. I am gonna be evil and bypass everything. Bypass rules. Cool. So that now should go into here. We can then now do a new release. And I'm just going to copy it and paste that in because it's like all of this. We're going to pick 0.31.74. Look at that. Easy done. I can't believe that we've done that many releases. Alright, so we've done that. I'm all happy with this as a set pre-release. We need to generate release notes. That will bang that in there. No, it doesn't. Alright, no problem. And we're going to hit publish release and hope for the best. Because the last couple of nights I've pushed stuff that is broken. So, yeah. In the next couple of months, we'll also be looking at testing the Docker sort of environments. We'll need to actually have processes around what happens if we implement new libraries within NearBeach, and how we should test and update our Docker packages so that they don't crash, which is what I caused multiple times. So yeah. For those wondering what's actually happening now, we are going through a release. It is actually deploying this release right now. So this will be on PyPI within a couple of, about a minute. And then it'll take probably about, it's been 40 minutes lately, deploying the static files because, you know, it just takes that long. And then it'll trigger the Docker build and the Docker build would happen. So within an hour, the new release will be out. Hopefully nothing crashes anything, so fingers crossed. I will be testing it just before going to bed. And if anything happens, I will fix it straight away. Isn't that right, Sucks? What are you doing? Alright, so now that that is done, let's find someone to raid. Alright, are they building around web platform? Alright, I am. We haven't visited Pitvin in a little while. So Pitvin's drawing and stuff like that. So if you like that, yeah, we'll go visit Pitvin. Alright. Pitvin also uses NearBeach, so yeah. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for coming tonight. It has been wonderful. I do hope you enjoyed the stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Don't forget to follow if you're on Twitch. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be here on Friday, but I'll update everyone in the Discord. Anyway, I'm going to pause that. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much, everyone on YouTube. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Thank you very much.